Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas 088 garden, and it is a misty day. Temperatures are like in the mid 50s, which feels amazing to me. We do have colder temps coming up, but I needed to go ahead and do a little bit of pruning in a couple of places, and I still have some seeds that I need to sow now for early spring cut flowers. Okay, so I am behind a little bit. I wanted to give you a view of this bed because this is the area where we planted a bunch of delphinium that we started, which is a hardy annual. We started some sweet peas in the ground, lisianthus over here, snapdragons. Everybody's doing really, really well right now. But I still have 3 more varieties of seeds that I need to go ahead and plant. Theoretically, I would have planted these 3 to 4 weeks ago. Hasn't happened. So we're going to try it now and see what happens. It'll be a nice experiment to see what's going on. But there are some areas I needed to prune back in some particular areas in order to be able to plant these new varieties of seeds. So let's get that started. Ooh. Okay, so over here I've got zinnias, old zinnia stems that are obviously done for the year. Pulling up these stakes, and basically what I need to do is come through and cut these at the base. I'm going to do an initial cut. I've waited so long on these that hard. And I waited a while on these because I wanted them to drop seeds in place. Well, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and pull them up. It's just going to be easier in the long run. Oh, I'm literally sinking in mud back over here. So let's go ahead and clear out this bed some, and then I'll talk to you about what's in this bed. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's in this bed. Actually, I'm going to give you all a close-up view. Okay, this is a 4x8 metal raised bed that I purchased from Amazon. And I typically have a lot of zinnias that reseed themselves here every year. I did want to show you, I do have like your basic weeds like this, but I also have over here, all of these guys are green dragon cress, which if you didn't know, spreads like crazy. Now I know. So I'm gonna be pulling weeds over here. I'm gonna let it go for now. It kind of likes the colder weather. We'll see what ends up happening, but I would love to have lots of it next year. Over here, I've got hardy annuals. I've got scabiosa right here. This, I don't see the name for this particular scabiosa. I would think it's a rose. It's a pink color of some type. These are hardy annuals. And they should have died off. They haven't. I'm hoping that they will overwinter and then give me blooms this next spring. We'll see. And then over here, I have all of this is status, which is an absolutely beautiful flower. All of these right here are status, which are all looking really, really good as well. So I'm really hoping that they are going to overwinter and give me some blooms in early spring. These are big, beautiful, healthy plants. I'll probably keep an eye on them, and if they don't look good in like January when we really start getting nice and cold, then I will probably go ahead and start additional scabiosa and status from seed to replace these. All right, I'm literally gonna sit on an empty compost bag. What is this? This is a calla lily bulb. Huh. All right, I'll take that inside. All right, I'm literally sitting on a compost bag so that I don't like soak my pants from all the recent rain. Now, one thing I also planted in this garden last year was drumstick allium. However, I really did not end up liking them in here, so I pulled out most of them. But I've seen a few coming up in a few different places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start by running my hands and softening the soil over here. Oh, that's a dog. Let me put that back in the ground. Softening the soil a little bit in here, and I'm going to start very simply with some rows of bachelor's buttons. And the variety I'm planting today is called Bachelor's Buttons Tall Blend. It's a mix of colors by Botanical Interests. And these are about 24 to 36 inches tall. It describes it as a carefree, drought-tolerant annual, adds vertical interest and an array of colors to your garden, excellent dried or cut flower. And let's see, they're great for cutting, drying, and edible petals are beautiful sprinkled on a salad. The bachelor's buttons will naturalize. It self-sows for another crop of flowers the following season, and birds love love the seed heads. And I did have some this last year that were just all blue, and I didn't love them. So I wanted to end up going with a mix because I really wanted some of the pinks and whites worked into the design. These, you typically would plant these like a couple of weeks after before your average last frost date in the spring, but I'm going to go ahead and plant them now, see what ends up happening. They may or may not germinate now, or they might just wait for the spring. We'll see what ends up happening. They take 7 to 14 days to emerge, and we're planting about 1/4 of an inch deep. So I'm just going to keep it super simple. Let me move a few of these. Look at that root for the green dragon cress. That's a serious root right there. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my hands right here along the area where the drip line is. And I'm basically just going to, these are only sowed about 1/4 of an inch deep. So I'm just going to kind of create a little bit of a channel with my hand like that. And I'm only going to be sowing 2 rows of this. Oh, and there's quite a few in here. So we're going to sow them pretty heavy. These are really pretty. So I'm just going to sprinkle them down the length. I might sow, I'll just do 2 rows. I don't need tons and tons of these. So I'm going to like do a pretty heavy spread, and then I'm just going to lightly cover them. We do still have a lot of mild weather. We do have some freezing temps coming, but it's not like excessively freezing temps. So, okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing right here on this drip line right here. I'm just running my hand, and I'm going to just take the rest of them. Since my climate is so mild for the winter, or I say that, and then of course y'all know I shouldn't have said that out loud. We're going to have like some epic weather. You guys are probably all cursing me now. All my local people are probably like, man, I can't believe you said that out loud. Okay, so what I've done, we'll probably have a pretty mild winter, and I have a mild winter in my area, and typically it's really nice because you can really continue gardening throughout, you know, the whole winter process. I would say into January into February is our coldest times. And that's works fine because that's usually when I'm doing all my seeds starting inside anyway. But so basically we've got that in, which will be really, really nice. And I'm not going to label it because it's who I am as a person, and I know I'm going to forget. Y'all remind me later on. This would be a good start. So let's find a place for our next variety of seed. All right, so we're going to hop on over to this bed. Now this bed is actually a 3x6 of the same variety as the other ones. This one is a 4x8. This variety is a 3x6. I bought this originally and then added additional ones over time. And in this bed, we've got all the delphinium that we started from seed during the fall. And we've also got some sweet pea that we went ahead and pre-planted here because apparently it does well in our area if you start it in the fall. So we'll see. This is a total experiment for me. But in front of here, I want to add an additional variety of seed that will be new to me this year. So let's get started on that. Oh, my compost bag. Okay, so you can see it looks like we lost some of my original seedlings right here, but you can see most of the sweet peas have done pretty stinking well. Looks like a lot of them could be trained up. Okay, so I also grew ranunculus in here last year, and I can actually see a ranunculus corm coming back right here. And that reminds me, after I get these seeds planted, I'll show y'all what my current ranunculus that I started during the fall looks like, because it looks really good. All right, so what we've got here is this bed was already amended. Now, you might have noticed in that last bed I did not amend it with anything. It's because I'm out of everything. I'm out of fertilizer, I am out of compost, I'm out of all the things. and it's a Christmas season, so I'm not going to go buy other stuff right now. So it is what it is. So this bed has already been amended with additional compost when I planted in the sweet peas and the delphinium. So what we're going to be adding today is bupleurum graffiti. And you're supposed to be able, some gardeners say that in our area you can plant this in the fall. Now we are definitely in early winter. This is definitely not fall, but I thought I'd go ahead and give it a try. Let's see what happens. I've got 50 seeds, and the bupleurum I got from Harris Seeds. It germinates in about 14 to 21 days. It's an annual. It's about 24 to 32 inches tall. It's about 12 to 15 inches wide. It is 100 days from when it sprouts. That won't really be the case since we're doing this in the fall. Its small yellow, 2-inch yellow flowers are produced on tall plants with thin wiry stems, an excellent choice for cut flower production for use as filler in mixed bouquets. And it is just supposed to be very lightly done, barely covered on the surface of the soil. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give it a try and see what ends up happening. This is new to me this year, this variety. It does say that it needs to be succession planted. Let me clean my hands a little bit. Succession planted. The seeds are, of course, really dark. And so, golly, I need to order some more of these, I think. Yeah, the seeds are really dark. So basically what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to, I might just sprinkle them in here, y'all. Yep, that's what's happening. I'm just going to sprinkle them lightly in here, since there's only 50 seeds. And then I'm just gonna run my hands over it. Very simply done. I thought I might as well, for a couple of dollars, give it a try. See what ends up happening. If it doesn't work, well, then I'll start with a new packet of seeds come spring. But I meant to get these done earlier, didn't get it done. It is what it is, but I thought, for a couple of dollars, it's worth the experiment. And if it ends up working out, then I'll have a really early succession of bupleurum. Okay, let me show you the ranunculus. Okay, if you remember, we planted ranunculus in the fall. Now, don't be fooled by this. This is scabiosa. That's Fata Morgana scabiosa. Under here is my ranunculus. And basically what I did is I went ahead and put this cover on so that when we do get freezing temps, I can cover it up, and I will have to do that soon. But you can see all the ranunculus corms that I pre-sprouted are doing really well. There's definitely gaps in here where we didn't get anything going, but you can see all these other ones did really nicely. So I'm really excited because it does look like I'm going to have a jump start on the ranunculus, which would be really nice. Maybe I can go grab that one that has already sprouted in the other bed and move it over here. Why don't we do that real quick? So this is a ranunculus coming up. So I'm going to just come a couple of inches away from it and just come in here. Oh, we've got, ooh. Those look like stones. Not sure what that is. But we've got our ranunculus corm in here. So let's go ahead and transplant that over. And since I have this open space right here, we'll just pull back the soil, tuck that right in. Should be great. I'm really excited to see what all these ranunculus are going to look like come spring, or truthfully late winter, early spring. But yeah, they're all looking really nice. So far, it's been a really good experiment to see what the possibilities are for starting them in the fall. Okay, the next area, we'll touch on a few things. If you remember the straw flower that I planted from seed as a hardy annual early this year, and then I made this kind of like container thing out of willow branches. It's doing beautifully. How gorgeous does that look? Back here, I have gomphrena, a lot of gomphrena. And so what I want to end up doing is I want to go ahead and cut all of these plants out. And I've really been trying not to pull plants out if I can get away with it, except for giant weeds like this coming out. because I want to leave the stems in there so that or I want to leave the roots in there so that the roots can rot and then just add nutrients to the soil. So these Gomphrena did really well. This particular variety was called Audrey White, and I loved it, and I'm going to grow it again. But let's go ahead and cut these out, and then we'll put our last set of seeds in here. I actually see some seedlings of some of the plants I wanted to start in here anyway, so that's exciting. Okay, so this bed also has green crust in it, but right here are some Larkspur, which that's what I'm about to sow in here. So that's exciting that I have some volunteers. These volunteers, I believe, are pink, and the ones that I'm going to be sowing are blue. So let's get that started. Okay, got my compost bag here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to be planting Larkspur shades of blue. This is by Botanical Interest. These are about 3 to 4 feet tall, irresistible, beautiful, tall, elegant spires. Add bright shades of blue to cut and dried flower arrangements. They look great in mass plantings with a compelling display of light and dark blue blooms. Reseeds readily, which would be wonderful. Larkspur bloom in cooler weather of late spring and early summer, and in mild summer climates. I do not have a mild summer climate here. Larkspur is the same family as delphinium. A lot of times at the local nurseries, delphinium will be written off as perennial. I find that they die during the summer and they don't come back during the fall. So that's what I've experienced. I know some gardeners have a different experience with that, but I've never had luck kind of keeping delphinium as a perennial. So I kind of treat Larkspur the same way. I'm really hoping that these are those Gomphrena seed heads. I'm really hoping that the Gomphrena has reseeded itself here as well. And the Gomphrena would come like during warmer weather, towards the end of spring, beginning of summer. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll get around a Larkspur in this place, and then the Gomphrena afterwards. Now, I already planted these because I didn't press play on the video. I used the same technique where I ran my hand across to make a little bit of a trough and then sprinkled all the seeds in. I ended up doing 3 rows here. They're put in there pretty tight, but I'm okay with that. Doesn't bother me. These were only planted about 1/4 of an inch deep. And so I am excited to see how these do come spring. Can I sit on this? I can't sit on this. Okay. All right, that feels good. So 3 new varieties, the blue Larkspur, the bupleurum, and the bachelor's buttons. It's very exciting. I didn't love my bachelor's buttons last year, but I'm gonna give it another try, see how it goes. I did love my Larkspur, and the bupleurum are new for me, so that'll be really interesting as well. I also love this time of year because my grass is all dormant, so every time I like cut things, I can just throw it on the ground and leave it there. That's great. I don't have to worry about having to move it to grow my grass or anything like that. So I kind of love that. Now I got to get kids out here to pick everything up. We'll see. But yeah, that feels really, really good to have that finally done. It took me a while. I just kept forgetting about those seeds and getting them taken care of. I was working on bigger projects, but it's nice to have this taken care of. Okay, that feels good, you guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Still getting some seeds out there, still doing gardening in my end of December climate. It's feeling good. We won't get to real weather until the end of January, so I definitely will continue with more work outside. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know my latest videos are up, and be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a bad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.